Hello everybody. So I wanted to go to the other side of the fence from what everyone's talking about and say, why would you want to go to Twitter now? So I'm not talking about if you're already there. If you're already there, you're probably going to stay there realistically. Are you really leaving because of Elon Musk? Seriously? You're not aware that he voted Democrat the last 4 elections quite publicly? Very big fan of Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. Doesn't really like Donald Trump. They had quite a public fight. You're aware he's a leftist, and yet you leftists are leaving because he's considering removing the ban on Donald Trump. Anyway, there are people that are considering leaving. Some people are calling him a right-wing extremist, a far-right extremist. Oh my God! I mean, wow. Just because he thinks that it was unfair that Donald Trump was banned. Wow. Voting preferences, beliefs, everything else be damned. If you dare to think that, you have to be a far-right extremist. Conspiracy theorist. So I thought to look at why you should go back to Twitter, or why you should go to Twitter if you've never been there before. So as a lot of people are aware, Twitter has been probably the biggest or worst or most unsafe place on the internet, at least that I'm aware of. Really, since its inception, it's just been a cesspool of bullying, hate, people being driven to suicide, and just horrible behaviour, just overall, all the time. I'm not convinced that it's anything other than that, and that's why I don't go to it. So, Elon Musk, first of all, before he even went there, before he did anything at all, he said he was going to make it safer, more welcoming, more inviting for everyone. I mean, wow, okay. Now, I don't know if that'll actually happen. There's a lot of people, they run a business and they say things like that and they don't follow through with it. But that's what he said. He said he'll make it safer, he'll make it more welcoming. And the thing is, when business owners and companies and departments and all that sort of stuff, whenever they say things like that, and they don't necessarily mean it, but if they don't follow through with it, you can sort of quote that back at them and say, hey Mr. Musk, you said you'd be making it safer. What are you doing? And sure, it might not work, but you can then put in the media and say, hey, he's a hypocrite. And it'll hurt him, and it'll hurt him in his back pocket, because that'll cost him money. So if he doesn't follow through with that, that'll cost him money. So I'm not guaranteeing he'll definitely follow through with it, but I think as a businessman, he probably wouldn't be saying something like that unless he was going to follow through with it. I mean, unless he had something else he was going to follow through with that makes him more money, I don't know. But that tells me there's a good chance he's going to follow through with it, to some extent. Don't know what extent. That's a really good thing, considering that Twitter is just so dangerous. I mean, Charlotte Dawson, August Amies are 2 celebrities who were driven to suicide by Twitter, and nothing happened about their attackers. Nothing happened. Well, actually, sorry, their attackers were defended, protected, supported, encouraged in being able to continue that sort of behaviour. That was Twitter's line. We even have law enforcement in Australia trying to go after Charlotte Dawson's attackers. No, Twitter would not help. So, or not enough at least. Not enough to my satisfaction. Maybe they helped a little bit. Maybe saying they didn't care at all. But look, the attackers continue to use Twitter, continue to tweet, and the people that committed suicide were demonised. They're broadly demonised over it, and that's pretty mean. Yeah, they had mental health issues, but there's always a lot of contributions to it, and having some people say some pretty awful things should be dealt with. And I'm not saying you necessarily have to prosecute people and pick somebody out and not pick somebody else out, but I'm certainly not satisfied with what they did. I think we'll say that, I don't know what the majority view is, but I think there were a lot of people who were not happy with the way that Twitter handled those 2 cases, and I'm not aware of any others, but I'm sure there are others. I just know of those 2. And there are regular people that have also been driven to suicide on Twitter. So having this as a safe place is a really big deal. The other thing is that he has talked about changing the moderation team, and I think this is probably a good thing. So if the moderation team as it exists now are encouraging that sort of behaviour or not doing enough to stop it, then I think that's a bit of an issue, and I think we need to, if you're going to make it safe, you need to remove them and start over again, or maybe there's some that are good but maybe not. And I mean, maybe it's been bad policy, bad policy coming from the top, from people that used to run Twitter before Elon Musk took over, or people that started Twitter. I don't know where this sort of idea comes from. But, I mean, certainly if I compare Twitter to Facebook, Facebook has had better moderation for dealing with bullying. And yeah, they have had less issues that I'm aware of, at least. And certainly I have had less issues with Facebook, I mean. And I've barely used Twitter. I've had it for 9 years and I've had 7 posts. And one of those posts was attacked by 2 people. So, I wouldn't call it bullying, but it was pretty bad considering, it's 1 out of 7 posts was attacked. So, and I have no, like 5 followers or something. It's ridiculous. And, that was pretty, well, not scary. I mean, it's not scary when you get 2 people attack you. That's not bullying. But they were just 1 tweet each. But yeah, just the idea of it, I just sort of thought, well, okay, what else could happen here if I used it more regularly or whatever. I mean, I've been attacked on Facebook, on other social media sites. It happens. But I suppose it's more what they do about it. And I'd sort of I'd say Facebook was better at dealing with bullying than MySpace. MySpace was better at dealing with bullying than LiveJournal. And the worst one is Twitter. Out of those, no, I never used Blogger. GeoCities, which I used before that, was actually really good with dealing with bullying. Oh dear me. Okay, sorry about that. So I don't know if you heard that music. They were quite a long way away. Anyway, so yeah, okay. So Twitter just not very safe, and I think that's a really good thing. So that he's going to be dealing with the moderation. What it ends up looking like, I don't know. But one thing is that he has fired the executives. Now, I don't know anything really about these guys, and girls, women, men, whatever. But I think just the idea of somebody firing executives on their first day, the first motion, is just get stuffed. And whether they get golden handshakes or parachutes or whatever people want to call it, those millions of dollars that they might be getting, don't know, don't care, don't think that's really relevant. And I don't know if they were responsible for all the bullying on Twitter, but I think it's symbolically a good gesture. And whether, do I care that he's potentially going to fire 75% of employees, and I think maybe even 100%, and reduce the number of people that are employed by Twitter? Do I care? If I was a Twitter employee, I might care. If I was a friend of a Twitter employee, I might care. But as an end user, well, I'm not an employee, I don't know anyone, and as a potential end user, I do not care. I just do not care. And in fact, if they are responsible, and again, I don't know who's responsible for Twitter being in the state it is, but, presumably some of these employees are responsible for this. Is it the executive? Is it the employees? I don't know. It'd be quite hard, I'd imagine, to work it out. So why not just get rid of them all and start again? So again, I think that's a good move. If these are good people, they'll be able to get work somewhere else. Maybe some of them will even come back to Twitter and be good for Musk. So that's perfectly fine by me. And then we got the thing, the possibility of him bringing Donald Trump back. Again, I don't think that's a problem. I think that's a really good thing. It really does depend on how he does it. If he just says, oh, I like you, Trumpy, you're coming back, that'd be a problem. And I think if he said, oh, look, I'm a Republican, I'll bring Trump back. Now, of course, Musk is not a Republican. He supported Democrats perhaps not all of his life. I believe he supported George W. Bush in 2004 since then to support Democrats, and it said he might consider supporting Republicans again in the next election. But you know, he's publicly supported Democrats, so perhaps he's a swing voter, left-leaning, whatever you think he might be. But yeah, certainly, and he's had public arguments with Donald Trump. They're not friends. So I don't think he's likely to do that, and I don't think there's a guarantee he will bring Trump back. He said it was an unfair ban, and I personally agree with that. I think it was a ridiculous ban, considering that that Trump was the president at the time. So, you know, wasn't charged with any crime. Well, I mean, I suppose he was in terms of impeachment, but he was found not guilty. So, you know, there's a lot of... There were a few arguments to suggest that he should have been banned at the time. There's a lot more arguments to suggest that was the wrong thing to do. And even if it was okay at the time, it's not okay to keep him banned. Not just from Twitter, from all the places. And I mean, again, we'd have to probably look at them individually, but just let's look at Twitter and say no. So, yeah, look, I think it would depend on how he does it. But I think if he does it in the right way, it's a good thing. What about the blue tick? Well, I don't care about the blue tick. If he wants to get rid of the blue tick and instead have paid membership, like LiveJournal used to do that, they used to have paid membership, I think that'd be fine. It obviously, it wouldn't mean that you're a celebrity if you have a blue tick, but arguably it doesn't now anyway. I mean, how many people have blue ticks and you'd like, who the heck's that? You know, Chris Boozy's got a blue tick. What's he ever done besides, you know, harass people that are, you know, supporting Amber Heard, or supporting Johnny Depp against Amber Heard, or opposing Meghan Markle? I mean, he's a bully. He's not a blue tick, he's not a celebrity, he's a bully. He's not a celebrity bully, he's just a bully. He's not a public figure, he's just a bully. There's a lot of people that have those blue ticks that arguably aren't celebrities, aren't anywhere near it. And I think that they've sort of downgraded that. And whether they want to have a tiered system and you're on different tier depending on what level of celebrity, I don't know, but you know, you'd think celebrity, if you're a proper celebrity, you can afford $20 a month to keep your tick, but I don't know. It could be a bad idea, and I think it depends on how that happens. But yeah, so look, I think that overall, Twitter, I'm not certainly joining it tomorrow or today, but I think it's becoming more inviting, more welcoming, and if it loses a few people, well, that's okay, but I don't really think they'll be leaving anyway. Anyway, that's it from me. Bye bye.